Today we are with Deborah Atkinson talking about fitness after 50. And Deborah, I wanted to touch on, we're going to get into strength training, but I wanted to touch on and emphasize the importance of the right protein for women, and that we actually have a harder time with protein synthesis as we get older. So bringing back the topic of my daughters again, they can get more out of the same amount of protein than I can. And so I actually need to eat more than they do, even though they're working out 3 times as hard as I am. And even my husband, we were talking about this. This goes for men too, as far as the decreased protein synthesis. And if you are at night craving the sugar, craving the wine, it may be because you didn't have enough protein, because your brain is saying, you didn't give me the nutrients. It's not saying I need wine, right? It's not saying I need sugar for nutrients. It's saying I need the B vitamins, the iron, the all of the stuff that comes in that good dense protein. So let's talk about the importance of protein and also when to eat it after your workout and strength training.
Yeah, such a great topic. And it's a hotbed. So I will say this, that it can be a little emotional. I think we can get a little defensive about what we thought we knew, the beliefs that we have. So I just love to say to everybody, try to have an open mind. Just have an open mind. We're not trying to sway you or give you a persuasive argument. I mean, I don't have a cow out here I'm trying to sell you. But, I think it's really important. And when you feel like exactly what you said, there is something called the protein theory, that if your body doesn't have enough protein for its needs to, number one, to maintain, but what else it does is it repairs damaged tissues. And every time we exercise in any way, we are creating damage. I mean, that is the way it's intended to be. We overload the muscle, we cause micro tearing within it. Now, I'm not talking about to the extent that you injure, just you go do your regular walk, a jog around the block, or you're doing weight training. We have micro tearing happening as a natural process of exercise. The best quote that I've ever had, I think, on a podcast, and I've said it many, many times, from Dr. Joe Friel, is that exercise creates the opportunity for fitness. Fitness happens in the recovery period between those times when you exercise. And I'll finish that with saying, or add to it, as long as you do the recovery things you need to do, you get that rest, you don't overdo, and you eat adequately and get the protein you need, and you sleep. Those recovery pieces are critical key for getting the results that you want between. And that's why less exercise can be much more effective, because we're skipping the recovery. It's the most underused component of fitness that there is. So super important that protein theory says the amount of protein that you need, if you're not getting it, your body will just keep kind of tapping you on the shoulder, saying, sending you craving something. And like you said, we're interpreting it as I want wine, but really it's saying, oh no, you didn't have enough kale or chicken or high protein foods during the day. So it's just like, you owe me. There's a debt here and I want you to put it in. So you don't get the message clearly about what, and just get the craving. So it's true. So in relationship to your exercise, so here's the great news, right? So as estrogen goes down, that is really about the time that our muscle protein synthesis goes down, because estrogen, we've always known, or really for the last 30 years, it's a protector for bone. It holds on to bone density for us. And that's why postmenopause has been almost the norm that women lose bone density. But we now know equally it has the same impact and influence on muscle. So when we lose estrogen, we also lose the ability to more easily gain our lean muscle or maintain what we have. and or we're going to see our metabolism because of that come down. It's a result of it. So we need to be sure that we're taking in adequate protein. And as you mentioned, like sitting at the table with all your kids, you need more protein than they do because we have lower muscle protein synthesis even as we're active. So your active older adults, your active adults, your active teens, they're better off than the sedentary peer sitting beside them. So it's true you have greater muscle synthesis or muscle protein synthesis if you're an active person than if you're inactive. Somebody often used to look at me, and while my mom was alive, I said, she's 90 and I'm, 55. She actually needs more protein than me because I'm extremely active and she's not. That's never going to go in. They get too fast and they find it really hard. But that's the real truth. It's why Boost was born. It's why Ensure was born, because somebody realized, somebody from Iowa State University, actually. So there's a plug for the Cyclones. But Steve Nissen discovered HMB was really responsible for muscle protein synthesis. And when adults go to the hospital and they have bed rest for a period of days, compared to, say, a 20-year-old, they may lose 3 pounds. That 20-year-old may lose like 3/10 of a pound.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is they have a hard time getting it back at 90. Right? So we want to keep that muscle protein synthesis in. The timing of protein with your resistance training. So we can get a great boost in our muscle protein synthesis when we eat a high protein meal. We can also get a boost in our muscle protein synthesis when we do resistance training, most of all, more than anything. So we're not going to get a huge boost when we're just doing interval training and or we're just going out for a walk, hardly any. But definitely when we're strength training, we will get a big boost. So if we can take the boost and put them together, we get big boost during that period of time. So eating high protein meals close to, and I like to say bookending your workout, can be really beneficial for helping you see more lean muscle gain, even if you're trying to lose weight. Ultimately, you do want to gain muscle because that is the only way to not age yourself while you are boosting your metabolism. So gaining lean muscle increases and enhances your metabolism in a way that if you're doing tons of cardio, potentially all of that oxidation is actually accelerating your aging. So you really want to find the MVP. And it's not what you think, but it's the minimum viable physical exercise that you need to do to get the bone, to get the muscle, and keep your energy so that you can be active the other 23 hours of the day. Our goal is to be movers and shakers all day, to have energy, to be the one to go, yes, let's go do this. Let's go. Yes, I want to go. Say yes, yes, yes. The more active you are all day, the better. And our purpose for exercise should really be facilitating that.
I love it. And I want to stress that, people say, well, I don't want it. What if I'm intermittent fasting? Okay, so why are you fasting? What is the purpose? Do you have stage 4 cancer or are you wanting weight loss? Because when you break a fast with just pure protein, you actually raise the glucagon to insulin ratio, and you're actually going to get this bump in fat burning while feeding your muscles those amazing amino acids, and everything starts to work better. And one thing I wanted to touch on, Deborah, is people don't realize that when they don't get enough protein and maybe they're on a low calorie diet, what is your body going to do for protein? It's going to break down its own muscle. And as we get older, we're going to lose that muscle, and that muscle is expensive muscle. You want to hold on to it as much as you can. So